Back in Let's Play Modded Skyrim, we are up to episode number 26. Last time we got slaughtered by a frost troll, this time we come prepared. We make Lydia essential so she doesn't die on us. We do not want that happening. How you do it is you have the Ultimate Follows overhaul, you tell her she's important. She thinks she's important, so she becomes essential. That means that she won't die and I won't have to reload so often. Now let's go and face down that troll.
Let's get going then.
Hopefully Villager will help us out as well, so we stand a bit more of a better chance of winning. I think that poisons will help us now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put poison on my bow. Of course it's a frost troll, so it won't have too much effect from frost poisons, but it's going to be better than nothing. There you go, that's it. Time to activate my flames again. We need to quickly recharge. These potions of minor magicka don't do too much, but then again, what else am I going to use them for? I've run out of magicka already, so we need plan B. Unfortunately, I have no plan B, so I think it's going to be back to hacking and slashing with my sword. Unfortunately, it's going to die. I think it's going to die soon. I might be able to give it one more hit to get some practice. No, too slow. Yeah, that was easy. That was an easy fight. It's just, if Villager's helping out, then we can absolutely toast trolls. I wonder how people like Klimek came up this part with that troll hanging around, because that troll does regenerate. Emblem 5, man prevailed, shouting Alduin out of the world, proving of all that their voice was too strong, although their sacrifices were manifold. So we have man managing to use the voice that Parthenex taught them, to shout Alduin out of the world. Alduin, of course, is the dragon that destroyed Helgen. But somehow, for some reason, he's back in the world. Maybe we will get more of a clue. Well, you see, most of it's actually fixing together. We'll read the next emblem to see what that says. Emblem 6, with roaring tongues, the Sky Children conquer, founding the first empire with sword and voice, while the dragons withdrew from the world. So, at this time of the history, the Sky Children, of course, are the Nords. But the Sky Children, with sword and voice, managed to conquer the world. And that pretty much says the birth of the Nord Empire, where they conquered Resdin or Old Morrowind and some of High Rock as well. This was the Nordic Empire before the Imperial Empire. That was founded on the strength of the voice. We have Emblem 8 coming up. Jurgen Windcaller chose silence and returned. The 17 disputants could not shout him down. Jurgen the Calm built his home on the throat of the world. I did miss out an emblem then, actually, and that was Emblem 7, which reads, the tongues at Red Mountain went away humbled. Jurgen Windcaller began his 7-year meditation to understand how strong voices could fail. I'll go back and read that later, because that's kind of essential to the story coming up. So the Nords actually failed at Red Mountain. They were defeated by the combined Kaima and Dwemer forces, and Jurgen Windcaller, who was their chief, went off in a huff and meditated for 7 years to say, why did I lose? And he decided that it should be used for peace, and he built this place at the throat of the world, despite what all the other generals said, and those are the 17 disputants. However, thinking about that again, these 17 disputants, I wonder who they were. I wonder whether these actually became the dragon priests in the end. Or maybe at least they teamed up with the dragon priests to become the major dragon priests. Because we know the dragon priests were defeated alongside the dragons, and obviously they would be powerful in the dragon voice as well. But the generals behind Jurgen Windcaller couldn't have been very happy that they weren't allowed to use the voice for anything other than worship anymore. Anyhow, I've missed out a couple of the emblems, but we will go back and read them when we're coming back down anyway. And hopefully by then I would have figured out a little bit more about the dragon priests and the 17 dissidents that these tablets talk about. Right, we'll give them Klimek supplies, so that should complete that mission, and I can return to Klimek later. We'll pick up a few more of these offerings. I'm sure the greybeards don't miss them.
I grow a grey beard.
And we'll enter High Hrothgar. It's worth going back and reading all the emblems because you get a special power if you read all 10 of them. We do have to come up and down up this mountain anyway, so it's not going to be too much of an issue if you don't read them all in a row. Now here are some ominous monks coming out. Cutscene time, or static scripted scene time.
They will just ask you to make them invisible, and if you do, their mothers will hate you.
So, a dragonborn appears at this moment in the turning of the age. We will see if you truly have the gift. Show us, dragonborn. Let us taste of your voice. It is you. Welcome to High Hrothgar. I am Master Arngir. I speak for the Greybeards. Now, tell me, Dragonborn, why have you come here? We are honored to welcome a Dragonborn to High Hrothgar. We will do our best to teach you how to use your gift in fulfillment of your destiny. That is for you to discover. We can show you the way, but not your destination. You have shown that you are Dragonborn. You have the inborn gift. But do you have the discipline and temperament to follow the path laid out for you?
This Arngir guy, he's the boss of the Greybeards. Well, these Greybeards anyway. And this comes up to quite a nice scene because they increase the power of your shout and you get to learn how to use it. It's basically like a mini tutorial.
Thus your dragon blood gives you an inborn ability to learn words of power. All shouts are made up of 3 words of power. As you master each word, your shout will become progressively stronger. Master Einarth will now teach you Ro, a second word in unrelenting force. Ro means balance in the dragon tongue.
So they charge up your unrelenting force up to level 2 effectively. When you first start off with your unrelenting force, all it can do is stagger your opponent once. If you have a level 2 dragon shout, you can almost knock them off platforms, which you can't really do with your first powered up dragon shout.
But learning a word of power is only the first step. You must unlock it through constant practice in order to use it in a shout. Well, that is how the rest of us learn shouts. As Dragonborn, you can absorb a slain dragon's life force and knowledge directly. As part of your initiation, Master Einarth will allow you to tap into his understanding.
You need to both learn the shouts from going up to a word wall, and then you absorb that word wall. Then you have to kill a dragon, and you can build up dragon souls. The dragon souls you spend, they can be stored up, so you can have about
Use your
10, 20
unrelenting
dragon
force
souls
shout
to spend
strike
how
the
you like.
targets as they appear.
You can see how powerful that dragon shout
Well
was.
done.
That made
Again.
Lydia stagger back quite a lot. Usually they only just stagger once. This shout is quite useful. If you ever fight against opponents, it can buy you a little bit of time by staggering humanoid opponents. It doesn't work so much for the more powerful opponents, like the bigger ones. I haven't tried it on giants yet. I wonder if it works on giants. But it certainly doesn't work on dragons.
Your thumb is precise. You show great promise, Dragonborn. We will perform your next trial in the courtyard. Follow.
There are a
Master
few other dragon shouts you can learn, but the only useful ones I've found are the ice form shout, which is way overpowered. It basically just freezes your opponent so you can hack away at them. The fire shout isn't that useful either, because it doesn't do that too much damage, and it's not really as good as a mage's flame spell. I suppose it is quite good because it doesn't use your magicka, so you can use both magicka and you can use a shout power, so you get more spells in one, more attacks. But this guy is going to teach you one more shout, and that is the whirlwind sprint shout. I've never really found a use for it. The only use that I can possibly think of is going through these axe traps, which you can pretty much go through anyway by sprinting normally.
Vampires. When you get right down to it, they think of us as food.
So he's just spat out the whirlwind sprint shout.
You must hear the word within yourself before you can project it into a
There's some pretty useless shouts that I guess I'll have to pick up. There's a thievery shout, for instance, to distract opponents. You can cast a shout in one direction and then the NPCs will go and investigate it. But that's equivalent of a shout as it's equivalent of throwing a stone, basically. Would you prefer to learn this all-powerful dragon shout to distract opponents, or would you prefer just to throw a stone?
Hrothgar will demonstrate whirlwind sprint. Then it will be
The
your turn.
become ethereal shouts, which we'll learn later, is quite useful as
Master
well,
Boy.
because that allows you just to escape out of combat. But there are absolutely loads of these shouts that you can use. Modders have actually made most of these shouts redundant because they've given them
Stand
to
next
other
me.
magic
Master
schools, other
Boy
mage
will
schools,
open the gate.
so you can actually have an
Use
ice
your
form
whirlwind sprint
spell
to
to
pass
use,
through
but
before
ice
it
form
closes.
is by far the best, by far overpowered as well. That was fast. But you can see how you can get past axe traps very easily. But then again, axe traps are really easy anyway.
Your quick mastery of a new thum is astonishing. I'd heard the stories of the abilities of Dragonborn, but to see it from
We can
myself-
learn a little bit more about the Dragonborn from Argner?
Indeed not.
I can't
But
pronounce his
beware
name.
that your skill
All
does
these
not
names are
outstrip
really
your
difficult to
wisdom.
pronounce in Elder
You are
Scrolls.
now ready for your
Arngir.
last
We'll call him
trial.
Arngir.
Retrieve the horn of Jürgen Windcaller, our founder, from his tomb in the ancient fane of Ostengraf. Remain true to the way of the voice, and you will return.
Okay, so Arngir has
Dragons
given
have the
me
inborn
a
ability to
new mission,
learn
and that
project
is
their voice.
the Horn of
Dragons
Jürgen
also are
Windcaller.
able to
Jürgen
absorb
Windcaller,
the
if you
power of
recall,
their
round
slain
about
brethren.
5-10 minutes
A
ago
few
we were talking
mortals
about
are
him.
born with
He
similar
was
abilities,
the
whether a gift
loser
or a
who
curse
was
has
the
been a
main
matter of
general
debate down
who
through the centuries.
was in charge of the
But you
Nords,
have
who
already
fought
learned
the
in a few
Kaimer and the
days
Dwemer at Red
even
Mountain.
the most gifted
He
must
lost,
pierce
and
to
his
defeat.
forces lost, despite him having the
Some
voice, and
believe
despite
that
them being
Dragonborn are sent
total
into the
Nord
world by the gods
badasses.
at times of great
And he
need.
decided to come back,
will
and
speak
he
more
decided
of that
to
later,
meditate, build high
when you are ready.
Hrothgar, and said, right, we are now a peaceful people, and we're
5.
only going to use the
Our
voice
leader,
for
Paarthurnax,
meditation and praying to
lives
the gods.
alone on the peak of
For
the
some
throat
reason,
of the world.
he's set
When
up
your
a
voice
tomb
can
in a
open the
barrow,
path,
and
you will
also
know you are
he's
ready to
left
speak to
the
him.
horn of Jurgen Windcaller there, which these guys
He was
want
a
you
great
to
war
grab
leader of the
just to
ancient
prove
Nords,
that you're
master of the
a
voice,
dragonborn.
or tongue.
It's been proven already, so I
After the
don't quite know
disaster at Red
why
Mountain,
they want you to
where the
use
Nord
this,
army
or
was
why they want you
annihilated,
to get the horn,
he spent
whether it's got
many
some
years
magic powers
pondering
or
the
whether
meaning
they're
of that
lazy, or whether this
terrible
is
defeat.
just
He
an
finally came to
absolutely
realize that the
horrible
gods had punished the Nords
initiation
for
ceremony.
their arrogant and blasphemous misuse of the voice. He was the first to understand that the voice should be used solely for the glory and worship of the gods, not the glory of men. Jurgen Windcaller's mastery of the voice eventually overcame all opposition, and the way of the voice was born. The voice was a gift of the goddess Kinnereth at the dawn of time. She gave mortals the ability to speak as dragons do. Although this gift has often been misused, the only true use of the voice is for the worship and glory of the gods. True mastery of the voice can only be achieved when your inner spirit is in harmony with your outward actions. In the contemplation of the sky, Kinnereth's domain, and the practice of the voice, we strive to achieve this balance.
So we learn a bit more about what the emblem said. If you remember, the emblem said Kain took mercy on men and sent Paarthurnax and taught men the voice. Kain is obviously the goddess Kinnereth, and the Kinnereth taught men the way of the voice. He also explains a bit more about Jurgen Windcaller, and he explains that Jurgen Windcaller was basically the best voice practitioner, and he was a bit of a bully, so after he lost he got in a huff and he bullied everyone else down and said, right, okay, we're not going to use it to try to conquer the world anymore, we're going to do what we want to do, or what I want to do, which is just contemplate the sky and worship Kinnereth. So you might be wondering who is supposed to be Kain or who's supposed to be Kinnereth. They're the same person, obviously. Kain is the Nordic name for Kinnereth. Kinnereth is the imperial name for Kain. But they refer to the same Aedra. The Aedra is basically either a god or an all-powerful angel in this mythology, in this Elder Scrolls mythology. But Kain or Kinnereth is basically the goddess of the air and patron saint of travellers. In mythology as well, she's supposed to be one of the first gods to agree to lay down her powers to try to create the mortal plane. So it's little wonder that she is a sympathizer for man, and men generally worship her.
That does not mean that you are ready to understand it. Do not let your easy mastery of the voice tempt you into the arrogance
Hrothgar
of
also
power.
tells you a little bit
That
more
has been
about
the
the
downfall
Greybeards
of
and
many dragonborn
what they
before you.
do. All that he really seems to mention is that they're a peaceful order of monks, and they use the voice, which is very warlike, to actually communicate with the gods. Of course, in the mythology, this is not all they do. The Greybeards taught the Nords how to make war. They basically were the power behind the Nordic kingdom. They were also the power behind creating the being known as the Underking. And the Underking is basically a kingmaker who's a supernatural force that has been behind all the kings and emperors of Tamriel. So essentially
I
the
wouldn't want to be a
Greybeards are
Imagine living
behind
your
this
entire
Underking,
life
or
without
they actually
speaking to a
made the
friend or
Underking.
a
So they
loved
might
one.
be much more nefarious than you actually thought, or initially they presumed to be anyway. And yes, the Underking does sound just as grim and nasty as the name suggests.
I wouldn't want to
The
be a
Underking's
Greybeard.
explained a bit more in
Besides, how
Daggerfall.
enough
The
I
Underking
grow
is
a
much more
Greybeard.
influential in Daggerfall, However, we're up to the end of the video, so hopefully I will see you next time for Let's Play Modded Skyrim. Hope you enjoyed yourself.